Well, in your handouts here, you've got on the next page some discussion questions and a planning exercise. And again, we're going to sort of focus on the planning exercise. You will see a leadership team audit. And what we're going to have you do is you're going to start with your pastor, and if there's any staff person that's responsible for men's discipleship in your church, go ahead and fill those in. And then who are the men that are currently involved in leading the men's discipleship efforts in your church? And then you're going to write down what are their strengths and interests. Hopefully some of them are sitting at the table with you, but if not, sort of brainstorm a little bit. What are their strengths and interests? And then you might even want to think about what they're currently involved in the church. That might help you figure out what their strengths and interests are. One of the things I want to remind you of is that with the continuum, which is over there, remember we talked about how men are at all different levels, and David shared the story of the pastor and the layman, and the pastor is really oriented towards the cultural Christians and guys who needed Christ, and the layman was really focused on biblical Christians and guys who wanted to grow. Think about the leaders that you have, and including yourself, what's your focus on that continuum? Because as you're building your leadership team, you're also going to recruit guys. Maybe you got a whole bunch of leaders right now that are just into Bible study and mission trips, and they're all on the right side of the continuum. And you realize, oh, you know what the gap is that we have on our leadership team? We don't really have anybody that's interested in evangelism. We don't really have a lot of guys that want to reach the guys on our softball team, the blue collar guys, or the whatever guys. And so you need to recruit some of those guys onto your leadership team. That's a good thing to think about as you're building your team.
At the end of session 6 in your foundation workbook, you'll find questions for discussion and application. You know the drill by now. Spend some time talking about those with the members of your group. Then you're going to go on to your planning exercise. You're going to work on your leadership team audit. You want to make sure to fill out as much of this information as you can during this session. And then as you go forward, you may find additional details or have additional discussions that allow you to come back and even fill in a few more items on the chart. Then I would suggest that at the end of that time, you spend a few minutes together in prayer for the leaders that you've already identified on the chart, your pastor, all the way through all the laymen that are involved, and finally in prayer for future leaders that God might raise up in your ministry.